I think we're on.
Okay.
Just
Good
1 minute.
evening,
Are we on Facebook Live?
Yeah.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Portsmouth Coffee Talks Evening Edition show this Thursday at 7 p.m. And we welcome everyone and hope you all tuning in on Leah Stitt's Facebook page. And my name is James Overton, and I'm here with co-host Leah Drake Stitt and
Good,
Thomas the Colonel Chapman.
good
Hello,
evening.
co-host.
Good
Hello
evening,
there. Good
everyone.
evening. Good evening.
How are you guys? Well, you know, we were talking earlier about more drama in the city of Portsmouth.
More drama in the Portsmouth.
We'll hold off on that. We want to
Yep.
feature our guest first, and maybe he might want to chime in on that as well. But first, we have our guest, Roderick Hawthorne, but before we do that, and Leah, please introduce him for us. But before we do that, Carol, give your disclaimer.
Yes, for the views stated on this program are those of the host and the guests and nobody else. So we want to stay out of Facebook jail.
Want to stay out of Facebook jail. Well, good evening. It is with great pleasure that I have the opportunity to introduce our guest of the hour. He has become like my son since he's come back home. We're glad to have Roderick back home. He's a Portsmouth native. He's a graduate of IC Norcom High School. He attended Hampton University, graduating 2012. He's a contributing stylist at L'Officiel Thailand Magazine, the country's most influential fashion media. And we are just so happy to have Roderick here with us today to talk about his experience as a stylist and all the other things that he has been doing and how he got to where he is today. So Roderick, we want to say good evening and welcome to Portsmouth Coffee Talk.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Good evening to you as well.
Well, Roderick, we are just so excited because you have done something that maybe young people are dreaming about doing, but they just don't know how to go about doing it. First of all, explain to the public exactly what it is that you do in the fashion industry.
Okay, so I do multiple different things. I am a fashion stylist, which means I style models and or celebrities for events, red carpets, covers of magazines, campaigns. And I am also a casting director in which I do cast top talent as well as celebrities for the covers of magazines, whether it's Elle or Harper's or Vogue. I also work with models as a talent manager globally, and I manage about 25 models globally throughout the world.
So Roderick, how did you get involved? It's not something that we hear people from Portsmouth talk about, you know, going into the fashion industry at that high level and being a stylist for these entertainers and these models and people of that nature. How did you get involved in that business?
My career basically started working in luxury retail. I started working at Michael Kors. I worked at Michael Kors and did visuals for Michael Kors for about 3 years. And then I left Michael Kors and I went to work for Armani. I was there for about two years. And then I moved to Los Angeles and I was working for Louis Vuitton. I realized that luxury retail was something that I didn't want to do forever. It was hindering me from what my actual dream was, which was styling. So, you know, I would work 40 hours a week in luxury retail and only have 2 days out of that week to really put towards my dream. And I realized that it was taking so much time up that I wasn't really propelling myself where I wanted to go. So I ended up leaving Louis Vuitton and I moved to New York with no job, which was probably the biggest risk that I've taken in my career. And I had taken out a $5,000 personal loan. I slept on people's floors. I slept on people's couches. I did whatever I needed to do to get where I wanted to go in my career. And it really just networked my tail off between Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, reaching out to so many different people, asking for an opportunity, to really show the skill that I had. And one door opened after another, and here I am now. I've been doing this for about 14 years now.
So now, what was your undergraduate degree in, Roderick?
It was political science.
So you went from political science to the fashion industry. That's a broad spectrum there. That's from one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum. So, but you went into political science, but with the thought that you wanted to go into this fashion.
So what happened was I ended up going into fashion by happen chance. When I was at Hampton University, I used to work on a lot of their homecoming fashion shows. And one of my big sisters there at the school said, you're really good at what you do. Have you ever thought about doing this professionally? And I didn't really think about it until she planted that seed in my head. I ended up actually after Hampton, I went into the Navy, and I was in the Navy for 8 years. But in between that time, I went into the reserves, and I just worked on my craft. So, my life has really been a roller coaster in figuring out, what it was really that I wanted to do with my life. I appreciate the Navy because it afforded me discipline, and the camaraderie that I had, within my branch, but it didn't fulfill me creatively. And that was the part that kept sticking out like a sore thumb all the time was, okay, I'm in the military, but it's not doing anything for me. I don't feel fulfilled. So I ended up going to my chief, and I told them what I wanted to do, and they ended up letting me go inactive ready reserve. And from there, I literally just hit the ground running.
Wow. Roderick, how you doing?
I'm good. Sir. How are
From
you?
political science to fashion. Now, Governor Waller majored at Virginia Union. He majored in chemistry and ended up going to law school and becoming a governor. So those changes can happen, with anybody. But anyway, I want to take you back, in the fashion, you're in the fashion industry now. And you said Hampton sort of sparked your interest. But going back to when you were growing up in Portsmouth, especially at Norcom, was there anything there that sort of caught your eye? Did you take home economics, or what happened then, or did all that start later? That creative experience came out of you later. But at Norcom, did you see any of that?
I think that my creativeness has always been there. Michael Jackson was a very big influence in my life as a child. And I think that his uniforms and what he wore and how he dressed was something that initially sparked my interest in fashion. That probably was the first seed, actually, that was planted, but I never really thought about it until I got into college. Because when I was at Norcom, I was in the band. We ate, slept, and breathed band. So that was, my forte at that time, and as well as being the captain of the golf team at Norcom. I had been playing golf since I was 6. I had private lessons with Tiger when I was 12. And, I could have went pro if I wanted to, but life had its own thing for me. And here we are. And I would say, yeah, I don't think anything at Norcom particularly pushed those buttons for me, more so than it was just my regular childhood, growing up around music and fashion. And when I got to Hampton, it just opened that up to blossom.
Well,
Roger, your mother says that you never went along with the trends. You always did your own thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And mothers know their children, okay?
She is
Go ahead,
correct.
Slim. Go ahead,
Okay.
Slim.
Yeah, we have to mention, the involvement of the mothers there.
Yes.
I worked at Nordstrom for about 12 years when they were here in the area. And my fashion experiences was, custom suits for men and making sure that they were doing the right thing there. Now, when you were did you ever have any aspirations? You were working for these big companies to sort of go into your own kind of fashion world? And if you did, how important would that be to be in places like Nordstrom's and Bloomingdale's and things like that?
For me, I've always been a great seller.
Mm.
I was the #1 seller in the country for Armani, for the brand of Armani that I sold. And I think it really helped me I was always a people person, but it really helped me navigate those spaces and negotiating, which has helped me as well in management now and knowing how to negotiate, a rate for a model that may not be what, she should be getting paid. It could come down to, one thought off of my head, I had a girl that was up for an Olay job and they wanted to pay her $30,000. But I looked at the usage that they had for the model, and the usage was so much. I went back to the client and I said, well, you're asking for all of this usage for this model. The money doesn't add up to the usage. So I got it up to $130,000. And that came from being able to negotiate, on a sales floor and pitch something to someone and get them to buy that product. So for me, being in those spaces was very, very beneficial, not only in learning how to network and make clients, but also my own power as a negotiator.
Now, if there was a young person out there who was interested in doing what you do, what steps would you suggest that they take so that they wouldn't have to sleep on people's floors or in cars in order to get there? What would you suggest for them so that they can do the things that you're doing now? So you travel all over. If you go onto Roderick's Facebook page, you see all the beautiful models, and you almost think that Roderick is the model too, as he's dressed in his finest on his page. But so you have a lot of young people who may be interested. What would you suggest? Do they have to build a network? Do they have to do an internship? What would they need to do in order to do what it is that you're doing?
I think, fashion has so many different facets to it. I mean, you can be a hairstylist, you could be a makeup artist, you can be a model, you could be a casting director, you could be a photographer. I mean, there's so many different spaces for you to fit in. My first thing would be to say is figure out what it is that you actually want to do. And sometimes, that may change over time. And, living in New York, I realized that I needed to have multiple different funding streams. New York is not the cheapest place to live.
Exactly.
So, I realized that I needed to have my hands in multiple different things. But essentially, what I wanted to do was styling. And I figured that out very early. So I would say, figure out what it is that you actually want to do. School isn't for everyone. And, I didn't learn fashion in school. That was something that came to me naturally, as well as just studying and researching as much as possible. Research your craft. That is something that I will push for anybody, no matter what it is. I don't care if you're a basket weaver, research your craft as much as possible. I watched as many documentaries on fashion that were available as possible. I watched as many documentaries on Black creatives that had impacts on the industry as well, and really figured out how to navigate and how to network. Networking is going to be your biggest thing. Fashion is all about who you know, and who can vouch for you.
Yeah, Colonel, before you get in there, let me, I just have to say this as someone that I mentioned worked at Nordstrom on the floor, directly with the customers. I used to look forward to you representatives that would come there and talk to us, because you made us look good, because you would tell us the fashion trends, what was coming. So I would take that knowledge and transfer it to the customers that I had. Like I said, I looked good because I was up on the fashion and everything. And I just wanted to let you know how much we appreciated you guys when you used to visit our stores and keep us up and make us look good.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's literally that's my driving force, to be able to put a smile on someone's face, or actually let them know, this is something that is attainable. It's not unattainable. If you want to look good, first thing comes with confidence. Like, that confidence will exude through so many different things. But as a stylist, my job is to enhance what is already there and to bring out what it is that is your personality, but with a garment.
Mhm.
Yeah, it gave me the confidence to be true to the customers that I had, that would tell them, maybe that's not for you. It might be good for
That's
John
real.
over there, but with
James,
your shape
but,
or whatever, just being honest with them, and let them know. It
but James,
gained a lot of respect for me, being honest with some of them. Some
for
of
a
them
whole,
didn't like it, but
for
it is what it is.
a whole lot of ladies out here, and with some of the clothes that they wear, there need to be some stylists out there to walk up and say, okay, that's a good style, but it's not quite for you. Okay,
Yes.
you're not quite
Mhm.
ready for the style yet, so
Yes.
It wasn't about the sale for me. It was about the people presenting themselves, because they were kind of representing me. If I was their stylist, so I had to be honest with them. I had to put that in. Go ahead.
go ahead, Colonel.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback on what James was saying, Slim was saying, sometimes you got to tell them, yeah, this style's not for you. It's for you if you only thing you're going to do is work down at the headlight club on the pole. It's for you. If you want to do something else, this ain't for you. So saying that.
That
Thank
is
you, Colonel.
needed sometimes.
Yeah, keep it real.
Keep
So
it real, Colonel.
Yeah, I'm
all right,
always
so-
honest with my clients.
Yes, you have to be honest. And the thing is, you talked about the client that you negotiated an upward fee, and that's called, I say you can, in its best word is saying advocating for your client. And that's what you're supposed to do.
That
You
is my
have
job.
you have a fiduciary responsibility to do the best for your client, just not the job, but they are part of, it's more than a job. And that's why you see great returns on that. But you lived overseas?
I never lived overseas, but I have traveled to plenty of different countries for what I do in fashion.
Mhm.
I'm in Paris twice a year.
Okay. And I guess Paris is the capital of fashion for the
It
world.
is. It is. A lot of people like to say it's New York, but it's really Paris.
Yes, yes. And I love Paris myself, and I love international travel and stuff like that. So love what you're doing. So where do you see yourself 5-10 years from now?
That is a phenomenal question. For me, it would still be managing the talent that I want to manage. But I also want to, when I came back home, it was really to give back to my community, and to give back in the space from where I had made the connections that I made, and met the people that I met, to be able to come back and give. I may not give specifically with me giving a wad of cash out to my community, but there are so many different ways that I can impact my community and impact my alma mater, through all of the things that I've done in my career and the people that I've met in my career. So I would say, really it is continuing to manage the talent that I manage, and really build on that. I also want to, at some point, own a bunch of different properties when it comes to creating fashion spaces for Black talent, You know, a lot of Black talent, they don't have that opportunity most times, or even the direction on where to go to get in those spaces. And to be quite honest, there's not a lot of us in those spaces in general. So for me, you know, I really would love to open schools globally that cater to Black creatives.
So,
So
Roger,
saying that,
great, Colonel.
yeah, saying that, because you know, you talk to a lot of the what I call young kids, and young kids is anybody a day younger than I. So I think I got you. So you're a young kid.
It's a lot of kids. It's a lot of kids.
Yeah, but they talk about, you know, looking for a career, and they say, well, I want to go to fashion design program or a school. And since you're a Hampton grad, so am I. Have you?
Okay, Hamptonian.
Yeah, reach out to them as to be a guest lecturer in one of the programs over there.
Absolutely, I would love that. I actually was just talking.
We got a new president now. Finally got a new president.
It was so needed.
Yeah, Lord have mercy. And I am being politically correct when I say it's so needed. Yes.
He was my father's president as well. So
yeah,
he's been there for quite some time.
Too long. Too long. Yes.
So Roderick, the beautiful models that we see on your page, the lovely fashions that we see them wearing, did you secure those pieces for them? Did you dress them? Did you prepare them for the photo shoot?
Yes. So when I first started my career, I was reaching out to brands myself. But now, because I'm too busy to do it, there's someone that you can hire called a market person. That market person is the one who reaches out to the brands for you on your behalf, and they acquire the clothes for you. Depending on whatever the project is, it could be a red carpet event. If my client is looking for a specific style, they go through the archives of collections that have recently come out, and they reach out to the brand and ask them what's available. If it is an editorial, you know, for a photo shoot for a magazine, it's the same thing. It depends on what the story is that I'm trying to tell. That will depict what brands I reach out to that are going to actually help fulfill that story. So say, you know, I had a story that centered around water. Of course, Versace would be probably a brand that I would reach out to, because they are always in a theme of aqua, of water, you know. And then depending on what other brands have colors and certain things that could bring those that story out. Maybe it was a brand that had a lot of blue sequins, or you know, it was a brand that had you know, green velvet. Depending on whatever story it is, that's how you figure out what brands or whatever the client wants, what brands you want to reach out to. And I have that go through a market person.
Wonderful.
Roger, let me take this here, you know, as far as the fashion world, you know, just like in the fashion world, just like everywhere else, is a certain amount of, well, needed disparity where it's not enough disparity, or just plain out racism. You know, some years back, there was some talk about Tommy Hilfiger and comments he made and everything like that. And you knew who were buying his fashions, you know. And so do you still see this in the fashion world where, you know, with racism rears its ugly head, like I said, everywhere, but especially because
absolutely.
we are the biggest consumers of fashion, I would say, you know, even if we can afford it or not.
We are, and you know, fashion has always been whitewashed. But if you really look at, if you could go look at the top 50 models right now, I guarantee you 75% of them are of color. You know, and I see the racism in fashion all the time. There's also colorism in the industry, and there's also tokenism. There's a time period right now where we're going through right now in the industry where all they want is dark skinned models straight from the motherland. So you know, they're not focusing on African American girls that are coming from the US. You know, if you're not straight from the motherland, they don't really pay attention to you like that. And there are waves in the industry that happens like that. There was a time in the probably like early 2000s where there was literally a whiteout in the industry where there would maybe be one or two Black models on the runway. And the brand that ushered that in right after, which was like the late 90s, when you had Naomi Campbell and Tyra Banks, you know, right after that, it was whitewashed, and Prada was the one that did that because they were so tired of supermodels, that word supermodel, and models becoming their own brands, that they whitewashed the industry. And now, you know, you didn't have girls who were just walking the runway and giving personality anymore. They were just very straight on carbon copies of each other. And that went for a long time until a lady named Beth Ann Hardiman, who was a model herself during the time of the Battle of Versailles with Hawthorne, came out and said, you know, this is unacceptable. And she changed that whole game, but we still deal with it now, even with white girls getting better rates than Black models. You know, and that comes with, that fight comes with having great agents that support you. And I can't stress it enough that it's very important for models of color and or Black models to have an agent in their corner that is of color as well, because they understand the struggle that models have to go through, especially with just getting their hair done. I you know, if I had $1, even a girl that I managed about 2 years ago, she was a Louis Vuitton exclusive girl. She walked Saint Laurent, and she had the most beautiful Afro hair, beautiful hair. And they fried her hair so much, she had to cut her hair off because they did not know how to properly do her hair as a Black model. And we still go through that in the industry with Black girls having to cut their hair or not feeling protected. And for a model to not even feel protected to walk a runway because their hair is going to get messed up. I don't know how, you know, hairstylists call themselves hairstylists if you cannot do everyone's hair.
Do you have a set of hairstylists or makeup artists who you send your models to?
Absolutely. I have about 4 or 5 hairstylists that I use, depending on if they need their hair braided or if they need it blown out. And then I have makeup artists that I use as well that are my go-to makeup artists. They are either Hispanic makeup artists or Black makeup artists. And I send them to them because I trust that they're going to be taken care of. I know that they will feel comfortable. I know that the model doesn't have to bring their own foundation to set to make sure that they can match their foundation to their skin. You know, that is very essential when it comes to a model's career when she's developing her career. Because I still know girls to this day that, you know, if they don't know who the makeup artist is that's going to be on set or have not worked with them before, they bring their own makeup and they do their own makeup.
So how do you acquire your models? Do they come to you? Do you seek them out, or?
It's a bit of both. There is a space where, you know, you can submit to agencies to get found. But I also scout. I scout on social media. I scout when I travel. I scout when I'm outside. Anytime I'm always looking. My eye is always looking. I have a boy now that we scouted on the Q train in New York at midnight, and he's now one of the top 50 male models in the world. I scouted him when he was 17, and he's now 21.
Yeah, I have to agree with that, because my first roommate at Virginia Union ended up leaving school and going into modeling on a whim. And back in the 70s, he was one of the biggest models, you know, in Jet and Ebony and a lot of other magazines. And he talked about some of these same things that you're talking about now that are still going on, you know, especially the part about when he would go on a job and say, we already have one. But hopefully
that was a thing.
Yeah, hopefully times are changing now and it's different. But I wish for the times where we don't even have to worry about those things, even in fashion. But I don't know if
I
we'll
agree.
see that in our lifetime, but it's worth working towards a better way.
So, Roderick, so
Yes.
for a male and a female, and we'll go with A and B, the average length of a career as a model before you age out, for the wrinkles start catch up, would be what? And what would I look for if I don't make it big time for the dollars and cents I could make? That's a question. And I got one follow-up for that after that.
So for women, it's not as long unless you were Naomi Campbell.
Mhm.
There's very few models who were supermodels that were modeling in the 90s that's still modeling. I would say 10, 15 years, and that's maybe pushing it.
Mhm.
For male models, it's a little different. I feel like there's a little bit more longevity in men's just because of men's fashion.
Mhm.
There are always things that are needed for older men, whether it's campaigns for Ralph Lauren or campaigns for Nordstrom's or Macy's. Like that longevity is much more there for men than it is for women. But I will say, women get paid much more than men. It's a drastic difference. A
Mhm.
girl could go to a campaign for Gucci and make $60,000, and the guy can make 10.
Mm.
And
Boy,
that's why it's
that's a
good
turn.
for that longevity, because
Yeah.
with males, gray sales,
Mm-hmm.
the gray beards and the gray hair
Mm-hmm.
sales, but not so much with women.
But they had
There you
one
go.
agency.
There you go.
They had one.
Yeah.
Not you, Colonel. Not you, Colonel. Not you. Not you. But they had one. I was trying to remember the agency that was highlighting older ladies here recently. Do you remember which agency that was?
I know IMG had a few older models that they were highlighting, but these models had been
Modeling
modeling
for.
for some time.
They didn't just pick them up on the subway in New York.
No,
They
that
had
rarely
been there
happens.
for a while.
That rarely happens. I mean, things are changing now where there is much more street scouting for inclusivity
Mhm.
than there ever has been before. You can look at any beauty campaigns, anything for Sephora or Ulta Beauty, where the diversity is across the board. There used to be a time where they didn't like models who had tattoos, and now that's not really a thing anymore. It's a part of the model's personality, and now they want models to come with personality. They want models to come, that are doing things outside of modeling that make them interesting outside of just being a model. One thing I can say about social media and about Instagram, it has been a gift and a curse to the modeling industry, because now everybody can be a model versus, you actually literally going out and putting the work in. But at the same time, it has helped models build their platforms, whether it be for human rights, whether it's for skincare, whether it's for fitness, whether it's for a charity that they want to support. It's really helped them build that platform and their brand. But it has also hurt models and hindered models, because I've been to so many castings where the casting director asked the model, okay, what's your name and how many followers you have on Instagram?
Mm,
And that really depicted on whether the model got the job or not.
mm.
Because now they're selling to, they want to sell and maximize that as much as possible with the talent, because now the talent, there's one girl who has 10,000 followers and one girl who has 150,000 followers. They may choose this $150,000 follower, 150,000 followers model, because there's going to be more visibility.
Mhm.
There's more people that's going to see it when she posts it on her Instagram. So the industry has changed a lot. It's not the same industry that it was even 5 years ago. It has changed drastically, and I'm very interested to see what is going to happen next.
Roderick,
Wow.
I want you to get into come back home and what you want to do, your plans for your alma mater. But before you do that, just what you were talking about, before the Instagram and all that, it used to be model agencies would come to town and hold these tryouts.
Yeah.
And I remember one time my daughter went to one, and they, because she was kind of tall, and they immediately tried to convince us to send her to this modeling school, but our main focus was her getting her education first, and if that came, fine. So that's the way they deal with it now. You mentioned about the Instagram, they're coming to you now. What would be some of the things, especially if you're here talking to some of the young people in school, there's some of the things that you, warning signs, or some of the things you would caution young girls and families about, these people that come through and make these offers that you could be the next Naomi Campbell or whoever, or you could be the next you. What would be some of the things we should be looking out for? Because it can be very convincing.
The biggest thing is if anybody asks you for money up front, it's fraud.
Mm-hmm.
Because the
And that's
model
what this company
doesn't.
was doing with my daughter. They wanted money up front, to send her to.
So if an agency wants you, they're going to pay for it. They're going to pay for, if they want you to come to New York, they will fly you to New York.
Mhm.
Models make money from jobs. They never pay anything out unless they're paying for, they're being reimbursed for a Uber or something like that. But most of the time, models never come out of their pocket for anything. Either the agency pays for it or the client pays for it. So normally you'll have a model who is signed to an agency and say they have a job for Target. Target is going to pay for them to come. They're going to pay for the hotel, and they're going to pay their rate. That's how the model gets paid. Everything is normally taken care of. So if an agency is coming to you asking you for money, that's the biggest red flag that you could get, when it comes to that, because agencies are always going to, they're going to take care of everything. It's nothing that you're really going to have to take care of outside of, like, if there's things you want to do, like building your portfolio, and you're paying photographers to shoot you, that's a different thing. But the agency itself, normally you never have to come out of pocket.
Good advice.
That would be that's my biggest red flag.
Now, getting back to the Instagram and the Facebook and all of that, and somebody's aspiring to be a model and they're showing themselves on their Facebook and the Instagram, what are some things they should not do and should not have on their page if they want people to look at them and see them as being someone they want to invest in?
Two things. One is you have to understand and know what genre of modeling you want to do. Because there's multiple different facets to it. Models who live in Los Angeles and Miami are going to have a completely different portfolio than models that live in New York, because there are hotter climates. They're going to have a lot of swimwear in their book. New York, everything is mostly shot in a studio. There are some things that are shot outside, but mostly everything is shot in a controlled space. So let's say your dream is just to be Sports Illustrated. That's all you want to do, is be a Sports Illustrated model. Your Instagram and social media should reflect that. It should look like that is literally what you're trying to do. I'm aiming for Sports Illustrated. Now, if you are a model who doesn't want to do the fashion side, the high fashion side, and they just want to do commercial, which would be Target, Zara, Gap, American Eagle, Banana Republic, jobs like that are commercial jobs. Your portfolio should reflect exactly what that looks like. Any of those brands that are commercial brands or high-end commercial brands, that's what that's what your images should look like. If you want to do beauty, your Instagram should look like beauty. There should be a bunch of different beauty, shoots and shots that you have done. And then if you want to do high fashion, same thing. That's what it should look like. There are models though that cross both. They go through different spectrums. There's models who do beauty, commercial, and fashion. And I would say your Instagram and social media should reflect whatever it is that you're trying to do. That's what it should look like. That's what catches my eye. Because I can look at a model's Instagram instantly and just be like, okay, they can do this, 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 and this. They can't do this.
Are there some things that they have on their page that may tell you, oh no, I'm not going to touch this person. It's a beautiful person. She's shown me what she's capable of doing. However, when I run across this on her page, it tells me it's a no-no.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a multitude of things. It could be how she presents herself or himself, and what other things they're posting on their social media as well, because this is going to let me know if I can even manage you properly.
Exactly.
Are you going to listen to what I have to say? Are you going to trust in what I have to say? Because, a lot of people come in and they just think they know it all. And I'm just like, I've been doing this for almost 15 years. I think I know a little bit about what I'm doing. So, I think it really comes down to being able to see those things that don't need to be on their social media. And sometimes that may not push me away. Sometimes I may need to say, hey, are you available for a Zoom meeting? Or if I'm wherever they are, can we meet in person? Because now I need to feel your energy and see who you are. Because sometimes the Instagram doesn't reflect who the person is.
Exactly.
So like I said, there's multiple facets to it. And, it could be a multitude of things of why I choose them or why I don't choose them.
I think to piggyback on what Leah is saying, just if you get into the area of plus size or full figure, whatever the term is used in the fashion model industry, you don't want to have Lizzo pictures on there if you're trying to get into a certain. I'm not putting Lizzo down. She's already there. She's made it.
She's there.
You have to get to
whatever
that
she want to do.
Yeah, you have to get to that point.
She's there already. She's gained
it is
right.
a market. I think it's great for the plus size or like I said, whatever term is used in the fashion industry for a lot of ladies, long as it's done. And they also, talk about health, done in a healthy way. So is that still something that's going to be around for a long time for those ladies that are in that position, or it can't be a fad, What are the opportunities for the plus size ladies out there in the fashion world?
It's not a fad because there's always curved girls. There's always plus size girls and or guys. They're just now opening it up as a hefty division for men. Mm-hmm. So, as long as there are people that look like that in the world, there's going to be a market for it.
Mm-hmm.
They're finally realizing that, before they thought everybody looked like, Twiggy.
Twiggy. Everybody looked like Twiggy at one time.
Which nobody looked like Twiggy.
No, Twiggy.
I mean, people that were eating the regular meals, nobody looked like Twiggy. I'm sorry, Colonel, you had.
Well, you know what, and I'll go back to what Leah and Roger was talking about when he was talking about what not to show on Facebook and Instagram. And it reminds me of a football player that got drafted by, I think, Miami. And he was supposed to be a top 3 offensive lineman. And on his Facebook page, he was at a party and he had a gas mask where he was smoking herb. Mm-hmm. And at the time, marijuana was illegal and you were being tested for it. And he dropped into in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, and it cost him tens of millions of dollars. And so that's an example what not to, also deplete your own social media, because it can come back to haunt you. And it just brings me back
Yes,
that
it
memory
can.
there.
It's all about the
can.
brand.
So,
All
but I
about
do
the
have a
brand.
question though. If this young person comes out and I am a model, and then so I am doing these private contracts. So is there a union that I can join? And two, and does it take care of my healthcare insurance and investments? Because if I got a short time spirit for I'm going to make this money for retirement and investments and stuff like that. How do I handle my money?
So even when it comes to your taxes, you have to handle that on your own. When it comes to the only time union and non-union come up is for television.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a campaign or editorial or even e-com, which is e-commerce, anything online, there's nothing union that's dealt with that at all. You only really run into that with TV commercials and with movies, with films.
Mm-hmm.
So outside of that, it's no real, if you're not doing films and TV commercials, either you be union, it could be a union job, or it'll be something for you to be a part of SAG. So, it's not like really a thing for you to join a union, but they will let you know what type of job it is that you're getting. When it comes to like I said, with your taxes and stuff like that, those are things that you have to take care of as a talent yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But what I always stress to all of my talents is to start your own LLC, start
Right.
your own business, and do all of your tax write-offs and everything through your business.
Right.
It's the best way to build your business credit. It's the best way to build your credit in general. Like, start your own business and run everything through there. And a lot of people don't do that. They just, they're in it for the time that they're in it. And then when they're done, they're looking like, okay, what's next? And one thing that I teach all of my talent coming forth is you really have to take this as serious as possible,
Mm-hmm.
because your window is this small.
Very short.
Right.
So you have to get everything lined up that you want to get done. What is your life going to look like after modeling is done? What do you want to do after that? Because it's going to come to an end. There's a point where it comes to an end. Have you set yourself up in a position to be able to sustain yourself once your career is over? And there's a lot of models and talent that started out in big positions and now they're just nowhere to be found.
Mm-hmm. So, as a talent agent and a manager and having a fiduciary responsibility, and so when my daughter comes to you and I, sign up for your agency, how do you protect them from being against the Harvey Weinsteins that are out there? And then some of the other side of the dark side of the fashion industry saying, yes, if you want, after I'm interviewing you, and then they say, oh, you have to take more off than what you're comfortable with.
Okay.
And so what do you tell that young person?
This is where having a mother agent, and I'll explain what a mother agent is. A mother agent is basically your global manager. So they're the ones who, say if I scouted a girl and I bring her in as her global manager, I am the one who is going to place her with bigger booking agencies, which is i.e. Ford, IMG, Next, Elite, Worldwide, whatever modeling agency it is. I manage her career through those booking agencies, but nothing can be approved, or the model can never take a job unless it goes through me. So any options that that model gets, say she has an option for Dior. If they have this option for Dior, that option for Dior has to come through me. We have to sit down and talk about it through email. Okay, does this make sense for this model to do? Who is the team that's working on this project? Is the rate good enough for her to do this project? And then we give a yes or a no. I feel that great mother agents are essential in that, because then I can help navigate you through who you should be working with and who you shouldn't be working with. I know who all the people are in the industry where I've heard whispers, and I know all of the people in the industry where I know she's going to be protected. And that's the place that you navigate them to. Now, when it comes to photographers who want models to take more clothes off, this is something that definitely has to be talked about, because there are really big photographers that have been doing this for a long time that are respected and trusted in the industry. Now, Joe Schmo down the street that's asking you to do this, that's a completely different story, because there are bigger photographers who are doing this in a tasteful way, where it is seen as art and it's not seen in this trashy manner. So, you really have to know, okay, is it going to be John from down the street, or is it Stephen Mizell, who has shot every major Vogue cover that has ever come out since the 90s and is still shooting to this day? I would trust Stephen Mizell all day, but you have to be enamored in your craft and know about what it is that you're doing in order to navigate your talent where they're supposed to go and where they're not supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Leah, I want you to get into the Northam thing, but I have to ask this question before you do that. We might go over a little bit if you have time.
What makes you think I was heading into the Norcom thing, huh? What
I
gave you
don't know.
that
I just
idea?
know
I
you.
don't know.
You know how we think alike.
We do think alike. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
But look, I wanted to ask this because a lot of people in the modeling field, and they get to a certain point, and they have a voice, they have a platform, and sometimes there's certain issues they might speak out on, whether it's leaning right or left, and who's the judge, which is the best is subjective, but is it advantageous or disadvantage for people in the fashion world once they gain a voice or a platform to speak out on certain issues that they're passionate about, or is that something that in the fashion world they should stay away from?
I think it is essential. I think when we saw the movement of what happened with George Floyd, and the amount of Black models that took that helm and stood up and said that this was wrong, it changed so many things, as well as models who called out brands for being just hopping on the bandwagon and were never really truly supporting Black causes. Don't just say all of a sudden Black Lives Matter now, and then next month when all of this is over, you're still just casting white talent.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think it is essential for a model who has established themselves to have a voice. It is essential, especially when it comes to younger generations of models who are looking up to these models on how they should move through the industry. I think having a voice as a model, when you have made it in a certain space in your career where you're able to speak out, I think that there's nothing like it.
Are all minds clear? Are all minds clear? Okay.
I wonder where you're going now.
I feel so blessed. Roderick called me and told me that I had to take on the presidency of the Alumni Association one more time. But with that one more time, Roderick had to make his presence known. And since taking on the presidency of the Alumni Association again, Roderick has been on my right hand. Samara on my left hand, Roderick on my right hand. Roderick has brought so much energy back to the Alumni Association. He's brought in a healthy number of young people with him, which is good because those of us who are seasoned, we've been there for a long time, and it's time for us to kind of turn the mantle over to someone else. But not only did Roderick come in with energy, with ideas, Roderick had us online talking to a young lady in London about doing our working with us with our PR work and footprint and things of that nature. So Roderick, I just want you to share briefly. I know we don't have a lot of time, but I just want you to share some of the things that you have brought back to the table by coming back to the IC Norcom Alumni Association. And we are so blessed to have you there.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so there's a lot of things. I really wanted to, like I said in the beginning of the meeting, I really wanted to come back and give back to my community from the spaces that I had made connections in. So one was bringing in a friend of mine who has her own PR company out of London. And she is going to help us with working on either Netflix or Amazon, doing a documentary on Norcom. We also are working on getting multiple different Greyhounds statues placed on the campus of Norcom. They will be donated by a historically Black college or a college that Mr. Norcom himself attended to. On those statues, because the statues will have to be mounted in cement. On those statues, you will be able to, if you attended Norcom and went to whatever specific school donated that statue, you can buy a plaque and put your name on that statue, and that donation will go to the school. We also are trying to get a statue of Mr. Norcom in the front of the school with two Greyhounds beside him. We're also, we want to do a memorial garden on the campus for fallen Greyhounds that we've lost over the years. I also have a friend of mine who works at Disney who is going to come into the school and do a mural on one of the big white walls in the school. We are working on also different designs and pictures and everything for paraphernalia for the 110 next year, whether they be for the Letterman jackets or the cardigans that we're trying to do or the t-shirts that we're trying to do. We also I've already confirmed Norfolk State and Bethune-Cookman to march in the homecoming parade next year. I am trying to get as many historically Black colleges to march in that parade as possible. And
Roger, you must tell them, not only have you been working with the Alumni Association, but you and the younger people have also started the Alumni IC Norcom Band Association, Alumni Band Association.
Yes. So, and even in that, my Aunt Stacy runs Pharrell's nonprofit. So I have spoken to her. I've also spoken to a friend of mine whose friend is Mark Anthony. And he is going to pitch the idea to him as well to get new instruments and money donated to Norcom's band program. As we know, Norcom's band is probably one of the most prestigious high school bands in the country. They were one of the first high school bands to march an NFL halftime show. They marched the Indianapolis 500. We won nationals back-to-back twice when I marched in the band. So, it's a program that I think really needs to be fueled, and those kids should never want for anything, whether there's instruments or uniforms moving forward, whether it's water, Gatorade, food. Those are things that should always be in place, as well as making sure that we provide kids with music scholarships that they can take to whatever respective universities that they want to attend. And then we also brought in my sister, who will be helping to trademark and copyright Norcom's name so that no one can make money off the school without licensing that out first, so that the money goes back to the school. So there's a multitude of things that are happening that I also want to raise $1 million. That's my minimum of what I want to raise for the school.
Brittany Horton just put that on the Facebook page. I came to the thought, we are celebrating our 110th year, and my goal was, I said, we're going to raise $100,000. They came and told me that my vision was too small. My vision was much too small. But these young people have contacts that we don't have. We don't have the contacts that they have, you know, and they will come in and help us to do a multitude of things for Norcom. And what we're doing is for the school and for the students, and to build up that pride in the school, that pride that we've all had. You know, his sister with a big law firm in California, she's coming on our show. She has become officially our attorney for the IC Norcom Alumni Association, and she's doing pro bono work for us. I mean, we call upon the graduates of Norcom to come back, give back. And that should be for every school. It shouldn't be just for Norcom. It should be for every school. When you graduate, come back and give back to the school that gave you the beginnings, that led you in the directions in which you went in. And I'm so thankful for Roderick. I'm so thankful for all the young people who've come back. And you all are going to see some amazing things. We will celebrate our 110th year. And if people thought we looked like a university at our last homecoming, they're going to really think that we're IC Norcom High School University when we get through with this 110th year celebration. And I know our time is running short. We need much more time. Go ahead, Roderick.
I really, you know, and I keep reiterating this, and I really want it to stick. You know, I realize that when we are in this space of local community, you know, it always happens to where most people have a local mindset. And I really am pushing for everyone to think globally, because nothing is going to happen on the level that we wanted to just locally. I had to reach out to people at Disney, people who worked at Rock Nation under Jay-Z, who are going to do the pitch decks for us to get Amazon and Netflix to do a documentary on the school. You know, it really comes from going outside of the community to bring what we need to bring back to the community. And a lot of people just think locally, and just, you know, I really want people to get out of that mindset that everything just has to be local and stay local, because that's not how we, you know, make Norcom's global footprint bigger. It has to be done outside of the community.
Right.
Colonel, you have something to say?
No, you're correct, because you have to think large. If you want to accomplish big things, you have to think big. And when you think small, you get small. And so I'm always one to push
I was
the
always
envelope.
taught by my mother, you have not because you have not.
Yes.
Just saying, piggybacking on what Leah said. Now, we encourage all the people from all the schools, because we've had people on here from Wilson and Manor, and please support your schools in the same way. The reason we focus on Norcom so much because of the historic significance of the school. No other school in the city of Portsmouth was historically Black. And that's our niche. That's our
continuous. There have been other historically Black high schools, but we've been continuously for 110 years a Black high school.
And that's why we focus on it.
And Brittany just said, period.
But I also like to say, you know, if people look at our videos that we have up here, we've had numerous Norcom grads that have come up here that are in Seattle, Washington, in Atlanta, in New York, and Washington, D.C., that have pledged the same kind of commitment to come back here and serve the school and help the school. So once we pull all those resources or those people together, especially this 110th year, I think we'll be in a good position. And Roderick, I think we can maybe connect you with those people that have come on the show and expressed have expressed to us that they want to come back and do something.
Mhm.
And now with you, we have something we can connect it to. You know,
Mhm.
we have
Absolutely.
a solid plan that we can connect them to, and with all of them coming together, even Dodo with
Mhm.
with the Dallas Mavericks.
Exactly.
I mean, we
We
have
also
people like that.
we have Erin Carter, who
And
runs this foundation. She is on board on my PR team as
okay,
well.
okay,
When it comes to us really bringing all of our PR together as much as possible to raise the money for the school, to get the school's visibility, whether it's us going on CNN or going on Good Morning America, we're going to get as much visibility for Norcom as possible.
yes,
And
we
James,
appreciate it.
and the main thing is Dr. Laguna Foster has embraced us. We keep Dr. Foster aware of everything that we're doing, what our plans are, what our dreams are, and what our thoughts are. He has
Mhm.
embraced us. And so they have a thing at his school where he says his slogan is increase, just increase.
Mhm.
And but then the Mr. Kuther, the assistant principal, brought in all in, which means that all of the organizations, we are all in. When they start the Alumni Band Association, we will be all in with the Alumni Association. And we want to try to get the Norcom athletes to be all in, where we're all working together towards that one goal, and that is to do those things that Mr. Norcom dreamed of when he
Mhm.
came to the High Street School.
And you know
Mhm.
who else we need to be all in?
Who is that?
Our leadership. We need to have our leadership on board with this,
Amen.
because this is not just Norcom
Mhm.
being self-serving. This is something that will bring attention, national attention and global attention, what Roderick says, to the city as a whole, as
Exactly.
well as
And
Norcom.
a positive.
So we need a positive spin
Thank you.
from our leadership as well, on what we're trying to do here. And it shouldn't be any kind of jealousy because they didn't go to Norcom or whatever. But the bottom line, it helps the whole city.
It
And
does.
It
like I
does,
mentioned before,
and that's
nobody has
that's
been a historically Black school but Norcom.
Exactly.
exactly, and that's what I have said multiple times. I really would love to see Norcom's homecoming parade and homecoming time be so massive, like the Rose Bowl parade, that they're going to have to build new hotels and new restaurants to accommodate the amount of people that are going to come to this city just for that.
Yeah. And that could happen. That can happen.
It can
If-
happen. It
If
can
we
happen.
all on board and have the same mindset,
It
it's,
will happen.
it's going to be some back and forth because disagreements are good in some moments, because you get the chance to see some views that you didn't think about in the first place. So,
Mhm.
And one
they
thing,
can
James, before you finish up, Roderick, I want you to know that Colonel, who's a Western Branch graduate, is also a member of the IC Norcom Alumni Association. His wife is
Oh,
a Norcom
welcome.
graduate, and Colonel recently donated an instrument to the
Oh,
IC
awesome.
Norcom
Man.
band.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. I greatly appreciate you.
Yep.
He's a
We
Norcomite. He
need
might have gone to Western Branch, but he's a Norcomite now.
Yep. Yep.
As we
I
wind
love
down,
it.
and I'll give everybody a chance to make the last comments, but I have to bring this up. I went to, every 3 months, I have to go to the heart hospital for them to make sure this new heart I have is doing what it's supposed to do. And a new cardiologist came in there. He's new to the heart hospital, and I had on my Norcom shirt. And I'm waiting for him to tell me my heart is okay. And he noticed the Norcom shirt and he saw the Greyhounds. He said, what's that all about? Because he has 3 Greyhounds. And I said, okay, that gives me a chance to sit here and tell him about the history. And then he told me about the history of Greyhounds.
Okay.
Like James Collins told us, they were called Great Hounds.
Great hounds.
He
That's right.
has 3 of them, but just having that shirt on, and also made me more comfortable with him because he was new.
Mhm.
And but he saw the shirt and it sparked his curiosity, and it gave me a
Mhm.
chance to talk to him about, no telling where he's from, but but I just had to tell that story. That was kind of amazing. Nobody, at the heart hospital even asked me about Greyhound before, but he saw that.
He saw it. He saw it. He had that
Anyway, I
connection.
want to give everybody
Yep.
a chance to,
That connection was there.
yeah.
Colonel, I'll let you go first this time, sir.
Okay, Roderick, first I'd like to thank you for coming on the show today and spending some extra time with us, and also with
Absolutely.
all the folks out there in Electron Land. So as they put it on YouTube and all the other media things, so it'll be shot across the world. And so we're gonna make you even more famous than what you are. But
I'll take it.
keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing, and keep
Thank you. I
representing.
appreciate it.
Yeah, because there ain't a lot of folks that look like you out there representing, and we already
Exactly.
know that. And so
Yep.
I'll leave it like that.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
Mhm.
And Roderick, you know how much I love you and your entire family, because he has a family of greyhounds from his great grandmother, his grandmother, his mother, his sister. All of them are greyhounds. But
My
I'm just
dad.
thankful. I'm thankful for the vision. I'm thankful for the energy. I'm thankful for everything that you're doing, which will not only enhance Norcom High School, as James says, it will also enhance our city and make our city a place where people will want to come and be a part of. So I want to
Mhm.
just thank you so very much. I thank you for all the young people who you brought back to the Alumni Association and their thoughts and their ideas and their dreams. We're going to embrace all of that. We got the seniors to put a little seasoning in the ideas that you all bring to the table. So we're
Mhm.
here to work together. We're here to work with the principal of IC Norcom, to work with the faculty and the students at IC Norcom. Our goal, fellas, is we would like to give every graduating senior something from the Alumni Association when they graduate in next year for the 110th anniversary.
At least
We're
$1,000.
looking for those who are going to college to give them a minimum of $110, $110,000, $1,010. For those who may be going to trade school, $510. For those who are not sure about what they're going to do, give them something. Give the students something so they can know that we care about them, that we love them, and we're concerned about them being successful in whatever they choose to do in life.
Mhm.
So I want to thank you, Roderick. I thank you for the energy. I thank you for all that you and Samara are doing to push me and our new board and our old board. So we're looking forward to great things from Norcom. And young people and those who are on Facebook, go to Roderick's page and look at those models and look at the great things that he has done and continues to do. And Roderick, I encourage you to ask all your friends to go to our Coffee Talk YouTube page and like the video and subscribe to our YouTube page and share the video as well. Okay.
Absolutely.
I just want to say thank
Absolutely.
you. And I know that you and Samara you will have a job for me tonight or tomorrow. And I'm waiting to
Mhm.
hear from you. Okay.
All right.
Slim?
Thank you so much.
I'd like to say, Roger, thank you. And I look forward to meeting you in person. And thank you so much for coming on. And we just hope that, all the things that you envision come to fruition at some point. And we're going to do everything we can to help you get to that point and for it to continue from now,
Exactly.
Mhm.
like you said, be as big as the Rose Bowl one day.
Mhm.
So, and we want, we're going to give you an opportunity to have your last comments, but I want to let people know you enjoyed the conversation here tonight with Roderick, and who knew that there were so many different areas of fashion that we could talk about. I knew, but we talked about a lot of things in fashion and what's going on in that fashion world. So as him being a stylish expert. But I want to remind you of some of the people we have coming up. We have Yolanda Edmonds Thomas coming on. She's a present school board member, and she's going to come on and talk about some of her visions that she had when she first came on Portsmouth Coffee Talk about getting the language, foreign
language.
languages to our younger students, where they are
Mhm.
more susceptible to learning that language
Mhm.
rather than waiting until junior high school when, we're hard-headed and everything.
Exactly.
But she's going to come on and talk about her vision back then and where it is now. I think things are happening. We're having Isaiah Mariner, who's Dr. Mariner's Grove Baptist Church son, who is a
Mhm.
teacher at Churchland High School. And we've had teachers up here before. We have coaches, but we hadn't had a teacher that teaches calculus and, and that kind of stuff. But he's a very interesting guy. We're going to have him
I think he's instrumental in the robotics class at
in the robotics.
Churchland as
He's very
well.
involved with the STEM program. So, and we want to talk about the importance of having male teachers, in our school system. And we're going to have Delegate Don Scott.
He does the spoken word as well.
Yes, he does. Hopefully we'll let him do some of those things when he comes on. Delegate Don Scott is coming on before the General Assembly meets in the beginning of the year. We have Cheryl Wilkerson coming on, who is a long-time radio journalist, and she's now working for Norfolk State. Then we have one of our favorites, Cletus Cassidy, is coming on to no telling where he's going to go with his visit. And then Ernestine Duncan is going to be on, and she always comes on this time of the year to talk about mental health and how people deal with certain things during the holidays. Some people get really stressful during holidays. So we're having her come back. She is actually one of our guest hosts. We named her a guest host. So she'll be back. She's from the psychology department at Norfolk State University. And at the end of the month, we have attorney Kristen
Hawthorne.
Kristen Hawthorne, and she's the sister of our guest tonight. And Leah talked about her, and she's going to help IC Norfolk with the trademark.
Yeah, and she does contract law, and she also entertainment law, and she's with one of the largest law firms in the country.
Yes, okay.
So
indeed.
she's coming on as well.
So stay tuned the rest of the month, the Portsmouth Coffee Talk. We're going to have a lot of interesting guests. So just stay tuned, and you'll see when they're coming on. We'll promote their appearance on our show. And just make sure when you go to our YouTube page, you like, subscribe, comment, and just watch and share this information that we have to you twice a week with our guest hosts. But I just had to get all that in and make sure you continue to watch us. And also, as the Colonel, you want to give that spiel about if anyone wants to support us?
Yes. For those out there, if you like what you're seeing, and I know you do, we also need help to continue bringing this enlightened program to you. And you're only going to hear it here. So if you'd like to send an honorarium to us, to Portsmouth Coffee Talk, you can send it to P.O. Box 7664, Portsmouth, Virginia 23707, and to Portsmouth Coffee Talk. And we have a Cash App, which Slim will tell you about.
Yes, the Cash App is $PCT 1220, PCT 1220, or you can do Zelle, Portsmouth Coffee Talk at yahoo.com. So we appreciate it. And anything that you send to us will be put right back into our broadcast and what we do here and what we try to do here. We're looking to do more promotes, going actually out there and being at different places and being able to do it live. So we appreciate anything you can do there. All right, Roderick, if it's your time to give your last comments. And again, we all appreciate you taking the time to come out here and share some very informative words with us tonight. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Just in the tidbit that you said at the end of the support, we're going to go ahead and work on trying to get you guys a coffee sponsor. That's the next thing that we're going to do to make sure that you guys are taken care of.
I love this guy.
I wanted to thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to speak with little old me. And I appreciate what you all are doing for the community. I think this is very needed. I think that we need to try to get as many more, and I'm going to do this on my end, more younger listeners on to the show. And it may be, this is just my suggestion, it may behoove you to get a young person as a host with you guys as well.
Are you making a suggestion of someone I'm looking at now?
Anyway. You never know.
Yes, that's been a goal of ours as well, to have a voice. We feel like we have a diverse group of people here, but we're all in the same generation, and it'd be nice to have a younger voice to go along with what we have to offer. So
Mhm.
we'll be looking at that, and just like what Leah said, we'll talk.
Listen, we'll talk. But no, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate all that you do, not only for Norcom, but as well as the city of Portsmouth. I think it is very much needed, especially in today's climate, for a space for everyone to come and talk about what's going on in the community, and you can actually reach the masses at the same time, and everyone can chime in and get their own words and opinions in on matters that are going on in the city. So I really wanted to say just thank you guys. I appreciate you all. And I appreciate being here. This was amazing. As I said, I'm available anytime. So you guys let me know, and we'll talk on the back end.
Okay. All right. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks for your support and the ones that follow us on a regular basis. We really appreciate it. We love you. And Portsmouth Coffee Talk is here for our voice,
our community,
In our future.
and we salute you, Roger. Thank
we
you.
salute you, Roderick. We salute you.
Oh, hold that cup up
You as
again.
well.
Oh, okay. I thought that was a cowboy cup. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it would be a Steelers cup if I had any cup.
Yeah, that's okay too. That's all right too. We live in a
Roderick,
world of
thank you.
choices. We live
Thank
in a
you so
world of
very
choices.
much. And we appreciate you. We appreciate you so very much.
Thank you.
And remember,
Thank you so much.
increase and all in.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I like that. All right.
And for those of you on Facebook, thank you for watching, and be tuned for Monday morning. We will be back.
Monday
Have a
morning,
great
our guest
evening.
will be Yolanda Edmonds Thomas, a school board member,
And God bless each of you.
Norcom
Thank
graduate.
you guys. Happy holidays.
Wait a minute, you don't have to